team, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this. We have the Commander 1.4 mPd. And check this out. Beautiful, feature-packed flaps, ailerons, elevator, rudder, and of course, the long-anticipated reverse thrust. Nothing like reverse thrust. And we're probably gonna be filming from the other direction today just because of the sun, but we'll start out here so we're comfortable. Okay, takeoff flaps are deployed. Stay tuned. We're gonna have the Unbox build radio set up as usual. But here we go, Maiden 2200. Oh yeah. A lot of roll there. Let's see if we can get that out of there. Gosh, what the heck? Chop my throttle. Just trying to trim it, guys. And that thing looks good. Look how slow it's flying. I'm out of the flaps.
I'm so surprised.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There it is, guys. That thing looks gorgeous.
It does.
Inside. Love the bottom of the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Full speed pass, inside. Need a little bit of elevator trim there. Boy, that thing disappeared into the blue, didn't it?
It did.
About 5, 6, 7 clicks of trim. There we go. Okay, here we go. Oh, yes. Now this flies on 3S or 4S, but for now we're on full landing flaps down the pipe. Absolutely gorgeous. Watch this power. Oh yeah. Folks, this thing is responsive, but it flies good. It is dead calm or near dead calm right now. Loving it, 100% throttle that whole pass. Yeah, I love it. Super responsive, but not fake responsive. I had some complaints about the RV7 because it's so short wheelbase and it's just kind of like crazy feeling. I love the way this thing feels. I love it. If you guys are in the market for the RV7 or this, I'm thinking I like the way this flies better. And it looks beautiful too. Mm-hmm. I actually love the looks of the RV7. I just feel like this one's more flyable. It's like more of a mix between the Cherokee and the RV7, such that you get that good flying experience, but you can do low speed, controllable stuff. And just look how gorgeous that is. Beautiful, what would be lazy spring evening for a normal family. Of course, our family was pouring concrete. Shh, don't tell the county. Into the back. Still has a tendency to lift a little bit with throttle. Full throttle this time. It's pretty speedy. It's not like the most incredible fast we've had before, but I love the speed because it gives you what you need. It looks almost scale, but it's maybe a little bit better than scale. It's kind of like, I think some people said that the T28 1.2 was way too fast for scale. And I'm like, well, just fly it on 3S then. This thing looks just amazing. Kind of a strange amount of trim out of the box. I was surprised by that. Now, I think this is a pylon racer. So that's why I'm trying to pylon race around that little object there. When it's your object, you can do it, guys. Just to be totally clear. Beautiful. Let's do some upside down. We're gonna try just like real relaxed throttle, about 30%, down to 10%. We're at about 5% there. Look how awesome that thing is. Even upside down, it's just no brainer, about 7-8% reverse elevator. Look how slow you can fly. It's just amazing, guys. Look at this. Oh, it's counting. That's when you know you got power, when you can do that. Get her flying. Just letting it stall. Full landing flaps. I want to fly in the bowl a little bit. Let's do that. Let's watch the shadow on the trees. Sun's way down low. That's why we're flying backward today. Right up by us. Little grass cutting. Out of the flaps, full throttle. We'll come right through the same chute. You good? Mm-hmm. Full throttle. There's our critically low warning. Also known as keep flying for a while for me. We are not nice to our smart packs, guys. There's our warning. Grass hops. Okay, so 1 minute 25 past, 2200. That was a 5-minute time plus 1.122. And it looks like what we got for voltage left, about 13.4. I think the thing would fly for a little while longer. It's just giving us a critically low warning because on 4S you would have lost almost one full cell. So in this case, the thing will fly on 3S. In fact, I want to see what it does when I try to back taxi it. I'm going to see if I can back taxi it back up to the runway. Full up elevator. Oh, I'm in reverse. Incidentally, we do show how to set up reverse thrust, but please be careful if you use reverse thrust. Okay, we're back on. Take off flaps. Here we go. About 15% throttle, a little bit of roll, and then up, out of the flaps. Rudder. Let's see if we can get her flying again. Let's try landing same direction, but a little bit more planned out and not crappy. Okay, full landing flaps coming in for base leg. About 15% throttle. Be ready to put it to controllable reverse thrust. Beautiful. Look at that thing up against the green. Really easy to see still. Look how slow you can bring that in. Look at that.
Nice.
Absolutely gorgeous, folks. What are you doing? What are you doing, pilot? Don't be an idiot. Don't do it. Yes, do it. You see it? It's like, no, Brian. No, Brian. No, Brian. Take off flaps. Absolutely efficient wing. Look at this thing. Look at that glide slope. If I was out of the flaps, I'd go even speedier. I want to try going over the power lines and then just under, okay? I don't know if I got enough juice. I may have to juice it a little bit. It might stall right over. Okay, full landing flaps now and down. There we go. Look at that, guys. Reverse thrust.
Wow.
What a sweet plane, folks.
Very cool.
I had no idea what to expect. I definitely now know what to expect, which is gold from this thing. Beautiful. I love it. It flies great. It looks great. I think the trim was terrible at the beginning. Big whoop, not a big deal. It wasn't hard to adjust. And guess what? Look at the rudder, guys. Look at the rudder. When you watch our unbox, the mechanical adjustment that I made on the rudder was totally undone.
Yep.
Look at that. So when you're watching the Unbox build radio setup and you sit and you say, Brian, I'm from the future. Don't adjust your rudder mechanically. Well, you'll know. All right, so now that we've done that, we're at 13.1 volts, which on the display shows just a little bit of juice left. Keep in mind with reverse thrust, if you're depending on it to hit your runway, you need to keep some power. Because if you're dead stick landing and you have reverse thrust and you're needing it, like on a Habu SS, for instance, on this runway, then you don't want to fly to dead stick. Or if you're dead stick way up there, use inertia, don't use throttle, and be ready for your last burst of throttle and then pilot fatigue. This, I didn't set up pilot fatigue. That would be pilot fatigue. It would be full thrust right now. We don't do that on prop planes because it's just too dangerous and it doesn't really add that much on a prop plane. You got plenty of power, plenty of stopping. You don't even really need the reverse thrust for this, but it's just awesome. If you don't know how to set it up, we'll show you how to set it up. Let's take a look inside real quick. Beautiful plane. Canopy is huge. Look at that. A little bit squishy here. Not a big fan of that, but it's actually nice and firm up here where you got to grab, and everything is super well held together. I liken this canopy here to the Cherokee 1.3, one of my favorite planes, one of the most beautiful planes I have. Flies just gorgeous, love it. But the thing is, the canopy is very soft in the middle. Makes it kind of hard to handle. Not a big deal, just something that's noteworthy. Okay, so 2200 4S fits perfect. We did the shelf liner trick like usual. And we're gonna swap out. Let's try 3200. Wait, that's 2250C.
Okay.
How many of those things you have back there? Jeez.
It's a surprise.
Okay, there's that. And this. Okay, so this is the 3200 4S. Gen 1 in this case, because we got the balance lead there. Of course, those two were both Gen 2. Now, one thing we thought would be kind of a problem is the difference in size, because the CG measured, I mean, it was like tail heavy, nose heavy. So, well, I'm curious how this thing's gonna handle the extra weight. I think it's gonna do well. Throttle cut's on, reverse thrust is in normal condition, and everything else is good to go. So here we go. So we checked our center of gravity, and it just worked with all the batteries. We tried 2700, 3200, 2250C, and 2230C just to get a range. I think we could probably do this side now. Okay. So, man, that thing is gorgeous. Look at that.
Yeah, it is.
Just look at that. With the sunset and everything, how can you go wrong, guys? All right, so take off flaps. Reverse thrust. Just gonna push back a little bit. Absolutely gorgeous, folks. If you haven't experienced one of these bind and flies with reverse thrust, using a smart battery, I'm telling you, it's just super nice, super nice. All the things that we didn't used to have, that we love, that we've come to expect, like telemetry. Look at this, guys. We have voltage right there, 16.6 volts. It's beautiful. We have a status bar. Where's our percentage horizon? Working on it. All right, here we go. Out of the flaps, about 25% throttle. Look at that, how awesome that is. Let's go right through the sun. Oh, so gorgeous. So folks, I don't know if you've ever had the experience of flying one of these planes on just a pristine spring night. But if you haven't, you need to do it. You need to do it. Even if that means borrowing one from your buddy. Which, if your buddy trusts you to borrow a plane and you don't do it, they're insane, but that's okay. Find one. Or better yet, just become that guy. Even in tight areas, folks, this thing is beautiful. Going behind. You good? I'd say we're about 85, 90 miles an hour, if that. I don't think we're quite breaking 100. Okay, through the hole in the trees, out front. Full throttle. I want to try a couple of touch and goes. The wind is sort of ambiguous. You see that windsock, guys, that little dinky one there in front of us that's 15 feet long? We're getting kind of like breezes once in a while. Okay, full landing flaps there, just to slow it down a little bit. And just bring it in at a really slow pace. See how the 3200 feels. Oh yeah, beautiful. You gotta be kind of Johnny on the spot with your rudder. I didn't want to go through the grass, guys. I don't know if you noticed the way I did that. Yeah, you really got to be on it with the rudder. once you get onto the mains, it's pretty well behaved. I feel like this one you can actually get in and kind of grease it nicely. Whereas I felt like the RV7 was actually pretty tough to grease. That doesn't mean it can't be done. That's a skill issue. Skill, patience. Right down the pipe. Oh, so by the way, if we didn't mention it in previous videos, we've been working with the power company to get rid of those power lines. And they gave us their final offer, whatever that means. So we're in the process of figuring out if we're willing to take their final offer or not. Cornhole. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay, let's show you some safe real quick. I feel bad, I haven't even hardly showed safe. Okay, so where did we put safe? Oh, gear.
Okay.
There's safe. Okay, so janking it. Here, let's show the people. It's just flying back there. Just, no. Don't shoot. Okay. Jank. Oh, that's so gorgeous. Look at that. Pretty good amount of up. Pretty good amount of down. A lot of left. A lot of right. Okay. Out of safe. Can't handle it anymore. So I must say, this thing is rock solid. It went together really good. You'll see in the Unbox build radio setup. 3200 for us seems pretty dang good fit, actually. Kind of surprised they're not recommending it. I wonder if they're like out right now or something. So if you guys are wanting something new and exciting, I know this was released a while back. I never had it the first time, but I'm pretty excited about it. It is good. Love the sound. Love the sound. Reminds me of a P-47, except in general aviation sort of thing. Landing flaps. I wonder if I could get it down from here. I doubt it. Probably too steep. Too much speed. I could go around the bowl, probably. Just nice, relaxing. Flight around the bowl. Oh, it's so gorgeous. Landing flaps now. See if we can get a little something greasy here, if we're lucky. See guys, you could not do that with the RV7. I'm sorry, it's just way too bouncy wouncy. This thing, I feel like it checks every box that the RV7 didn't for me. Again, lots of preference in these statements here. I love this plane. It's great flying. It looks good. It goes together quick. And when you see the unbox, there's just a lot of details about this plane that's just answering a lot of our complaints that we've had with some of the bind and flies. And to be honest with you, the complaints are getting smaller and smaller and more picky and more picky. Because, and I gotta keep flying, sorry. I can't be doing this talking while I could be flying. But I mean, this plane is it's a keeper for sure. It's excitement. It's excitement when you want it. And it's relaxing if you don't. Nice and flyable airframe. Resilient. And it still lets you do stupid things like that. So folks, if you haven't experienced this plane, you might want to think about getting yourself one. Follow the link in the video description below. You help support the channel. Obviously, that's the most amicable way we see. We also have PayPal and Patreon if you're interested in supporting us in different ways. Maybe you can't buy the plane, but you want to buy it from the local hobby shop, something like that. Throw us a couple bucks that way. That's always appreciated, and it really does brighten our day. Every little bit helps. We appreciate you guys. You're really helping us to live our dreams. So we'll keep doing content as long as you keep coming back. And please do hit the like if you enjoy the video footage. Not because you hate the plane or you like the plane, but remember, we review them even if we don't like them. We just kind of like everything. It's the truth. Man, that looks so good.
Yeah, it does.
I got to do a slower pass now.
Okay.
So folks, look at that. That windsock is so limp. I'm loving it. Absolutely gorgeous.
I did not think we were going to get that this morning.
Oh, it's so windy today.
It's terrible.
We had to pour some concrete today. It was awesome.
Also terrible.
Uh-oh, what's going on? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What just happened? What just happened? What just happened there? Yes, that's right. I flew between the power lines. I got to get it in before they take them down, right?
No.
Gotta love it. Birds! Birds! Nah, they didn't want to engage. It's okay. Let's see if I can land from here, guys. Gosh, I have a lot of power left. I'm at 14.4. This 3200 is a good amount of flight time.
No kidding.
Look how slow it flies. So flies? That's a new word. Brian Phillips RC. You heard it first here. Flies. Airplane that flies in a glide very nicely. It's flighting. It looks fake. It looks like it's just chilling there with that prop breaking on and everything. That is hilariously weird looking. Guys, look how good this flies. I got about 10% up elevator. It's like it won't stall. It's just like, no thank you. No soup for you. No thrust reverse until now, because I want to. That was crazy.
That was crazy.
I was way up there.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to see if I can take off from here?
Ooh.
Or do you want me to just back it up? I can see the concern in your eye. So backing up these planes is always kind of fun, especially if you get real crazy with it. Let's see if we can take off from the driveway door. So this is actually not a very long runway. This helped us demonstrate some, our grass is a little bit too tall. I don't want to do grass ops with this and dirty it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so take off flaps. No problem. Absolutely no problem. Guys, look at that beautiful sunset. Wow. So for those of you who don't know much about flying radio controlled airplanes, there's lots of do-gooders that would get all upset about what I just did there. They mean well. Look how beautiful this plane is though. Beautiful touch and went. Wowzers. Full throttle. This thing is still like really kicking out some juice with 3200 4S. Do a huge loop. Critically low warning. Oh, it screwed it up. A lot of inertia now. We'll carry it over the tree line. Try to do kind of a more conventional base leg here. We'll bring it out, base leg right around the low point here. Then we'll just cut back. No way, Jose. Hey, camera crew, you wanna go back to the middle? Thank you. I like the landing the other direction, actually. I felt like it was more fun.
Okay.
I'm not as hemmed in by the tree. So takeoff flaps deployed about 15%, 20% throttle here. Maybe about 27%, 30%, 40%, 50%. Full landing flaps. Got to make it over those little trees, junky ones. Full landing flap and thrust reverse. As you can see, that thrust reverse, it just lets you really control where you come to a stop. Would I need the thrust reverse on this plane? I don't think you do. But you know what I do want? Thrust reverse on this plane, because it just makes it so much more fun. And to be honest with you, everybody's got different circumstances for runways. And I found that, especially here where we are now, we've got a narrow runway, we've got stuff on either side and stuff all around and all this. And even though we have more room in the back, it's just not as practical. And so for us, it's always been about balancing practicality with time allowed, with comfort, with where the sun is, with how the wind is, with the direction. You know, all these things come into the umbrella of practicality, I should say. So we just love flying here. And if we can make a good plane do even better here, I don't see why thrust reverse is a big deal. I think it's amazing. It is so nice. It is huge. Now, just a few short years ago, we were fighting for flaps on planes. You guys remember I used to be a big advocate for flaps, and then they started putting them on all the planes, which is great because that's the way it should have been in the first place. And we love it because flaps give that extra element of realism. It gives the extra thing to do while you're flying. It gives you the extra flight envelope that you expect as an RC pilot. And so these planes are coming with all these features, and just look how stinking gorgeous it is. Look, it's a foam plane. Go back 10 years in time and you would have been like, wow, that must have taken you hours to cover. It looks absolutely fantastic. Even when you get up close to it, it still looks fantastic. These planes are looking better and better, and they're performing better and better. So definitely no complaints on this plane. I think it is definitely worthy of having. It is definitely worthy of flying. I feel like there is not anything on it that I want to change except LEDs. Where are the LEDs? But beyond that, I am just totally floored by this thing. It was not one that I had initially, and so I've never experienced it before, but it's just an absolutely joyous experience to fly this plane. I love it. And look, so joyous that I think I need to try to see if I can fly again. Get it in the air. Get it flying. So guys, when you hear the warning, what do?
Go again.
It's one way to do it.
My lighting's getting a little sketchy though.
See, the touchdown from touchdown to there, which is not the most pretty landing you've seen on this plane, that's only about 42 feet. 42 feet is short, guys. A basketball court is longer than that. I'm just saying, if that's what you fly from, you could do it. Do you remember when we tried to land the 70 millimeter Viper jet on the basketball court? That was way before thrust reverse.
Not quite.
Did not work, let's say. So folks, if you're sticking around here just to see me crash this plane, I think I'm gonna pass on that one for tonight because I like this plane a lot.
Yeah.
Also, the little bit of grass ops we saw is very promising, but I gotta be honest, my zero turn is sort of broke a little bit right now. So I did cut the grass once, but since it's so tall, I sort of don't wanna like put anything in it because it's like about probably 6.5 inches tall right now. Yeah. So if it was 3 inches tall, I think we'd be doing this. And also I need to grade some dirt we put out here.
Yep.
And so I'm just afraid we're gonna make that plane tip over and it's gonna be a false representation. We need to drag to make it smooth there. Once that's done, then we should be able to do a little bit better grass ops for you guys because we wanna give you a good representation. Most people that are flying off of grass are flying off of reasonably good grass.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more well-maintained than our grass, but we have, thank God, had some pretty good rain this year. So we have beautiful tall grass for our hay grass, and we have grass coming in that was giving us tons of trouble last year because it was drought conditions. So we don't mean to put you guys off that fly from grass. We promise that's not what we're trying to do. We're certainly not trying to like cover for bad performance in this plane. I think it's gonna do pretty good. The RV7 had about that much clearance This thing has significantly more clearance. And I think it's gonna be okay, but you will make a mess of the bottom of that plane. And the foam does still get stained a lot. So I don't know that there's really a great way to get around that, but man, what a beautiful sunset. That is gorgeous.
It's super pretty.
So as usual, guys, Brian Phillips here and the camera crew signing off. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this stuff with your friends. Obviously, if you're in the hobby, you've got buddies that do this. Let them know about our channel if you're interested. If you want to support us, buy the planes. Buy the planes from our links below. We also have Brian Phillips RC, which will help you sort through the hundreds and thousands of videos, hundreds of planes and aircraft and other things, and thousands of videos, because the links will help you to organize where you're going, and then they'll bring you back to YouTube generally. But you can also buy from the links there too. It's the same thing that's in the video description below. So if you don't know how to get to the video description on a mobile device, there's usually an arrow on this side of your screen on your right-hand side. And if you click the down arrow, it should expand, and then there'll be a bunch of links that are hyperlinked blue, and you should be able to click on those. And when you buy these things, they go into your cart. It behaves just like any other time you visit a site like horizonhobby.com, and they know that you came from the video, and then they pay commissions to us, and that's how we fund our channel. So if you didn't know how that works, that's how that works. And also that works with a bunch of the other manufacturers and vendors that we work with. So anyway, that's the easiest way. We feel like it's the best, most amicable way you can help us if you really want to help us, but beyond just giving us likes, watching the videos and all that good stuff. Leave your comments, questions down below. I'll try my best to get to them. We are a little bit behind right now. We're going crazy with footage because it's just been like, we've come out of a terrible period of weather, and now we're having some like intermittently good weather. So we're trying to get as much of the stuff that has to get done outside done, and also film. So we appreciate your patience. 4K video is huge, huge. It takes forever to upload. So
We should call Elon and ask
yeah,
him
let's
about
call
that.
Elon and ask, because we have Starlink. And just in case you guys are rule, Starlink is still by far the best option.
Yeah.
100% the best option. But it's still really slow compared to people that are in town that are getting direct fiber connections where you can get 1.9 gigabytes up and down. It's a lot faster. So it takes us like 2 or 3 days to upload some of our videos. It's pretty bad. All right, any thoughts, camera crew, about this plane?
I think it's awesome. It's very fun to watch. It films really good. I'm excited.
Yeah, especially when it's beautiful out.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, well, without further ado, stay tuned. Unbox, build, and radio setups coming next.
YouTube, we have a small box right here.
Oh yeah, baby.
We haven't opened a brand new plane that I haven't ever seen in my life before in such a long time.
You've already seen it fly.
We're just unboxing it in real time and space, and we are super excited to bring this to you. Brian Phillips RC here. What is that thing? It's a blue plane. Looks like we got the bottom side of the box, which is amazing.
Okay, hold on. Let me flip this over.
This is the Commander mPd 1.4 meter.
And yes, I do have the back side of the box, so let's, careful for the packing list, just in case.
There's always a packing list that sneaks out of these things. Let's just make sure.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh yeah, we're good to go. Oh baby, look at that. Amazing. Commander mPd 1.4. Higher power. It's got a 45 amp Avian Light ESC. Wide flight envelope. Easier to fly with safe. Okay.
Oh, that's what MPD stands for.
Yep. You want to read that for the people at home?
Maybe.
So here we go. So we're going to open it up right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop this open. This is a bind and fly. You can get it as a plug and fly at some point. I don't know if they're going to be released at the exact same time. It seems like the plug and flies sometimes get released a little bit later. So the bind and flies tend to be a little bit more popular in the e-flite lineup. And okay, so sometimes they're hard to get out of the box, especially when you get a ding like this. That ding seems to be popular. I think it's something about the size of our delivery guy and the way he throws the package across the truck or whatever it is he does. Oh, plus, you know what? There's nothing supporting that particular spot in the box. Okay, so we'll fold this up. Always super happy with the packaging from Horizon. I think we've had like one plane that's been damaged, and it was just a super minor thing. It was like something slipped on a Timber 1.5, like our first Timber 1.5. This is way long ago. So I don't, oh, maybe our second Timber had some stupid thing.
We get a lot of stuff delivered.
Yeah, we get a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So let's pop this stuff out. Nice unfolded manual. Thank you for listening to us, Horizon. We appreciate unfolded manuals. It is very nice to have a manual that's unfolded. It is in the bag upside down, and there's tape holding it down. So I'll just pop that off. All right, so one of the reasons that we really appreciate Horizon Hobby and their different brands like Blade and e-flite and Hanger 9 is that they have good manuals. But the e-flite lineup, the Blade lineup are some of the best that you get in the industry. Nice waxy cover, not that that makes a big difference. They also give you a link right here to actually go ahead and get the updated manual on your phone. Shows you information like this.
What are we talking about? Battery.
What size?
2200 4S.
Where?
Right here.
Okay. All right, so 2200 4S is, we have one of those charging, then we have a couple in the backdrop here. Air 631 it looks like, which is pretty good. Look, they finally drew that in there. That's kind of cool. People need to know that. Okay, and then here's the computerized transmitter setup. That's why that's so helpful, is because when you're setting up a new plane, now it does come with a bind plug, but we aren't gonna need a bind plug. In fact, we haven't used bind plugs on planes for some time. It's been really nice. And you don't even really think about it until you go back to an older plane and you're like, whoa, I need a bind plug. This is so strange. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pop this thing out of the package. As per usual, the unbox part of the video is going to be at the end. So you've already seen it fly, we haven't. So excuse our estimations about things. This is one of the few e-flite planes I haven't actually flown before, which is really exciting for me. It is technically a re-release. This is a V2. So some of you guys have already experienced this plane, but I haven't. So I'm really excited, and I believe we're gonna be able to do thrust reverse like we've done historically. Don't know if it's gonna be necessary, because look at those barn door flaps. That is awesome. What am I doing? I gotta get it out of the bag.
I was gonna say.
A lot of thick plastic in this. Look at this, guys. Look how thick this is. That's the type of plastic you get on a model that's made in China that's sold through an American company. Sorry, Horizon. All right, so here we go. We've got a big, huge decal, and look, they have the screws through the decal. That is bizarro. So they are thinking about serviceability. What the heck? Ooh, Metal Gear servos, look. Metal. Ball link. Brass ball links, no less. That's pretty cool. The wing feels light for being as big as it is. And just look at this, guys. It's got a hollowness to it, it feels like. So I wonder if this is two-piece. I can't tell. Yes, it is. It's a clamshell. It's got two pieces, I think. So this thing is hollow, I think, which is crazy because like it doesn't have any twist to it at all. And then if you look right here, quick plugs, which is nice. You don't have to mess with it if you have to disassemble for transportation. 1, 2 screws, a joiner rod, and then something that probably comes off the fuselage here. So that's pretty cool. Of course, this would be like a low wing / mid wing plane because the wing kind of sticks into the bottom-ish of the plane. So some of you guys are gonna be asking, oh, is this good for a beginner plane? I'm guessing not, but the thing is, I haven't flown it yet. So as soon as I fly it, I will let you know my opinion on that toward the end of the video. So you guys already heard my opinion. Wheel pants are sometimes one of my issues with planes because they'll chatter and stuff. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna work. It sounds like the landing gear are gonna be noisy. If you get real picky about that, look, nylock and nylock, inside and out. So there's some adjustability there. And I'm wondering if a guy could take, or a gal, or whatever you identify as, if a person could take some white lithium grease and put it in there, because there's a little bit of slop on that. Now that slop is a double-edged sword. If you have really tight bearings, then you can't make minor corrections as easy. So there is a double-edged sword, but it's less noisy. Okay, aluminum reminds me of the Cirrus SR22T landing gear, which by the way, we haven't gotten our new one yet, but I have the old one, and yes, we are doing that as soon as possible. You're seeing this video released before the Cirrus SR22T, and that's just because the nature of the shipments. So this was actually released later, but the shipments came quicker from China for some reason. So, all right, sticks. We've got the joiner rods, or the, ow, I got stabbed. Look guys, look at that. That's like literally a splinter in my skin.
Great.
Ouch. Okay, so we're gonna go pull that out medically and then come back. While I was waiting for the camera crew, Hannah was patting the cat. I'm just I'm waiting for my
Your medical
procedure. Okay,
we're gonna do this on
I'm
camera?
gonna film the medical procedure.
my
Watch
goodness.
this. This is gonna be crazy. Ow, it hurts. Where's the local? Oh, gosh, that was terrible.
Sorry.
Thank you. She is the camera crew and medical
Wait,
team.
I'm still holding it. So throw
Now
it,
look,
throw it
guys,
away.
I only show you this because I want you to see
Wait,
just how dangerous and
still.
deadly this hobby can get. Did you see how easy I did do that? That was pretty bad. Okay, so what I did was I was pushing against this with my hand. Just don't forget, guys, these rods, sometimes they aren't perfectly clean, and if that gets in your skin, it hurts. So that's fiberglass, not carbon fiber. Thank God, because if that was carbon fiber, it would have been way worse. See how I just pushed it through? I think I just caught it in a weird way, but listen. That one's carbon fiber. That one's fiberglass. That one, no, that's carbon fiber. Yeah, that's what happened there, guys. We just got a little edge there. See that? You don't want that running into your skin. It hurts. All right, continuing onward, now that we're done with our medical examination. Which leads me to another Brian Phillips moment.
Oh no.
So there's a guy on YouTube who did surgery on himself.
Oh.
Do you remember the guy? He's
Yep.
got a blown up hand. And he had fireworks and he blew up his hand, and then this finger he turned into, he's an orthopedic surgeon or something like that. So he it worked with the doctors to figure out how to turn his finger into a thumb, so he had a collapsible thumb still. And that allowed him to continue doing surgeries. And he had a tattoo on his side and he cut it off. It was the grossest thing and the most bizarre thing I've ever seen on YouTube. And so I just hope at some point that guy is watching our video and he can be like, hey Brian, you're doing a great job, you know? You should really use better scalpels. I mean, utility knives.
Great.
Seriously, he was an RC guy. Why do you think I was
he was.
watching him? You guys think us YouTubers don't watch YouTube? You're crazy.
You watch plenty of YouTube.
I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yes.
So that's how we got into this. It's not like, we have all the same interests, guys and gals. All 7 of you. Okay, look at this. Which does lead me to a new question, okay? Check this out. That is so cool. I love the way everything is so clean. It's so smooth. There's hardly any mold release bumps. There are a few of them, but they're just less noticeable than they were in the past. And I don't understand, you don't even hardly see them. In the white, look how close you have to look to see that.
Oh,
You see my finger for comparison?
See it.
Yeah, they're just
wow.
getting so much cleaner. It's awesome. I mean, think about the difference between this and what we were getting 6-7 years ago. I mean, it's subtle. It's little details. But I'm telling you, the little details are adding up to a lot better planes. And yes, they're more expensive, but so is everything else.
Yeah.
Like our gas bill.
Yeah, have you bought milk lately?
Our gas bill.
Oh.
Yeah, that one's gonna go up by 40% for next year. Yay! Okay, so continuing onward. Oh yeah, we use propane in this house in case you guys are curious, because they don't have a natural gas line that goes to this part of the countryside. And yes, we are still in talks with our utility company to get our power lines buried. We had a pretty major setback when we realized that there was a $13,000 screw up. And so we had to kind of come up with a plan for that.
She like jumped down immediately.
Yeah?
When I panned over.
Oh,
there.
they didn't,
No,
dang it. I was hoping you guys could see it. Okay, so this is the tail section. So the tail feathers slide together like this, okay? And then you've got carbon fiber reinforcement goes out about this far, just to show you. There's a little bit of flex on the outside, but then where it matters, it's not gonna be flexing. I'm curious if just the nature of the elevator is going to stiffen everything. I'm really surprised. It looks like a reinforced pinch hinge, but it looks like it is just a pinch hinge. Surprising to me on this. Again, pinch hinges get a bad rap. I have had pinch hinges on cheap planes break before I put them together. I have had pinch hinges on planes that I've used literally for years, never had a problem. It's all about the thickness of material before the clamp. Okay, so Horizon does a really nice job. Oh, and there's carbon fiber here. Yeah, there is a carbon fiber. It's just like a lighter spar. Okay, I don't know why I didn't notice that. Duh, it's right there. See it? It goes all the way out to the wingtip.
Yep.
So what's gonna happen is the support you're seeing when I flex this, look, it's just the leading edge. It's not the wing. The horizontal stabilizer is good. Okay, cool. Again, look how straight it is too, that's nice. We have had some problems with straightness of tail feathers on a few e-flite planes. Namely, Air Tractor. What's the other one we had? Which can be resolved. It's just like one of those little disappointing details you run into once in a while. And we always show you that stuff here on Brian Phillips RC. You know, I'm sure Horizon loves it, but the thing is, when there's something wrong, we want you to know what you're getting. It's not like we're trying to cover for anybody. We don't really care. If there's a mistake, we just want you to know that. So you know what you're getting. You know, half the battle when you're buying stuff online, which is basically what you're doing when you're coming to a video like mine, is you're either watching it for entertainment, or you're like literally just serving out your prison sentence. Holy crap, are you kidding me? Somebody listened to somebody complaining a lot. What is going on?
But are they labeled correctly?
What is going on?
That's awesome.
It's like the biggest, I mean, forget about the plane. They labeled the nutsacks. This is the first time ever. Why have they not been doing that for years?
No,
it's totally beyond me.
They used to a long time ago, but they were always wrong.
It was wrong.
Yeah.
No, they labeled the entire description.
I know, like all of them. Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, if this is a sign of times.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. Woo, so cool.
Wow,
the pilot is huge in there. That must be a small plane in real life. Okay, motor while. Smells. Okay. SPMXAM 2500. Gosh, you have thick labels on these new motors. 3720 800 kV, okay? That is a big motor. And, okay, so if you guys don't know how this works, the motor sizing, if you look through that inlet, which, by the way, this prop looks like an APC prop, maybe like an 8-inch pitch. I can't tell what the size is, probably 12. Okay, so it says caution height, 32 or 3720. That speaks to the length and the width, okay, of the stator portion, I believe. And then stator's like the outside part of a brushless motor. And then that is an 800 kV, which means not kilovolts, which I made the mistake of saying that for many, many, many moons. That means 800,000 rotations per volt, kV. 800,000 V volts. So it should be 800K/V. That's the way it should be denoted, but it's not, because it's a hobby and people evidently don't have to follow the regular nomenclature rules in a hobby. Okay, I gotta make some room to lay this down. I think I'm just gonna plop this on the ground, but I gotta just carefully check the back. There's nothing in the back that I can see. And I don't see any more nuts or bolts.
Nope.
Hey, by the way, speaking of, this fell out. That might work really nice to hold the plane up. Oh, it's gorgeous. So this bag is taped in such a way that I'm having trouble figuring out how to slip it out. I just want to carefully do it. Oh yeah, there it is. Because you see how the tail is kicked to the side? Mm-hmm. Camera crew, would you mind grabbing that and just pulling gently? Just pull my sack. It's all right, go ahead. Just yank on it. You've already done the surgery earlier. Come on. Yes! Oh, it's so gorgeous. I don't like this label. It's very sloppy looking. Why isn't that matte? But I love the paint and I love this decal. It's very, very nice. Everything is very clean. I'm just looking closely. Now, I do need to say something, and this is something that one of our longtime subscribers complains about, and that is blue planes. I tend to agree with him, even though I love the color blue. This cat's doing like workouts over here. What the heck? Okay, so I love blue too, and blue is a common color on a real plane. However, you fly a real plane from in there, not on the ground.
Out here.
Okay, so when you think of blue, you think of skies, okay? So blue, I think people think that blue is gonna blend into the sky. It can, but it doesn't always. It's just, I think gray and blue is another combination that looks really sharp on a plane, but then the gray makes it disappear because you find a lot more times that the sky is gray and bluish hues. Now we do a lot of sunset flying because it calms down here in the Midwest during sunset, and it does many places. So if you're anything like us, blue, I mean, but I just love this like metallic silver sort of.
I like that like dark gray, that more charcoal-y color.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But then there again, I like the colors. I like the trim. It's just that, you know, bright orange seems so gaudy until you need to see your plane on final or something like that. Then it's good. Okay, so let's start talking about this. We have reinforcement for the tail feathers. That's good. I like that. It makes it easier to put in. I also like that this is not painted here because that is a detail that will look like crap, even if it's a well-built plane, because as soon as you push it in, it's gonna like crinkle up the paint. It always does, 100% of the time. So Horizon, if you're listening, if you have to have a crinkle, if you have to have a finish here, put a decal on there for us. I also like that they labeled this left. You're gonna find out really quick if you do it wrong. These must be symmetrical enough that it can be put in upside down, but then your control horn's gonna come out the wrong side. And if you're that green, you probably picked the wrong plane, okay? Because I'm guessing this thing is gonna be a powerhouse and do some crazy things. I think this would be like a sport airplane for intermediate to experienced pilots. Now, when they say easier to fly, that's your tell sign. See this? Easier to fly. When they say easier to fly, they mean it. It doesn't mean it's easy to fly necessarily, but it means it's easier. Wow, that is, watch this. Watch this. I can pick up the plane from the canopy and it doesn't pop off. Good call. However, there's enough material here to hang on to. That's a problem we had on the 1.3 meter Cherokee. The canopy is gorgeous and big, but it's floppy. This is floppy here, but you don't have to grab it there. Once you get back here, you start getting some resistance to that flop, and then back here, it's solid. You can hold on to it. You don't have it feeling like it's gonna pop out of your hands, okay? All right, so let's look inside of here. And I need to speak to this for a second. Okay, so when I review a Horizon plane, I think sometimes, and I'm hearing it myself today, it sounds like I'm gushing. Partly because they're better than what we usually do. Like they're just more refined. They spend more at the Chinese factory than the competitor. That's the way it is. So when I gush about how good they are, it's because they're better. They're just like a more well-rounded plane. They've got a lot of details. That's not to say they're the best plane ever, and there's not ever been an example of a better plane. Probably our nicest plane right now is still the, you know, another brand, and but it's a balsa wood plane. It costs 3 times as much as this. So it's like, you know, cost makes a difference. Also, I'm just looking inside of here and just look at this attention to detail. Again, gushing. We're gonna do some more gushing. Sorry guys, just gushers today. Look at that. There's a plug in there. Why? That is so weird. Is that for structural stability? I can't figure out why they would do that. And then I'm trying to see if there's glue on there. I can't see, I gotta hold it next to my head. I don't understand that at all. They must have, I mean, this thing feels like really solid. Like there's a lot. Wow. Oh, you know what it is? It's support for the elevator and the push rods so they don't go whoop, 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 whoop. That's the noise they would make if they did that. I mean, you have to imagine being like really small and hearing it. Okay, so we've got a warning label here. And what's this? Oh, dang it, it tripped. Oh, slipped. Oh, whoa, weird. Don't cut your hand. All right, this is a bind plug. Leave plug in while bind. Why do they have an extension cable on there? That seems very strange to me. Like, of all the planes you could put an extension cable in, why did they do this?
That is kind of strange.
Does the battery overhang? This is plastic tray. Look at this, they even taped down a wire. Normally that thing, what? They Velcroed the ESC.
Wait.
Look, they Velcroed it. So you can actually take it off of there if you needed to. What is this serviceability that they're worried about? Since when does a hobby company worry about fixing things? Anyway, okay, cool. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and modify my plane. All right, let's just let this cat in. This cat's driving me nuts. This is Callie. Callie is our dominant female.
She's been out hunting on this.
She's been out hunting on our new bridge. Show them the bridge quick.
Oh, yep.
You guys may not have seen this, but we did a review the other day of a chainsaw, and that was not the chainsaw that cut it down. So
No.
we added that at the end as an Easter egg. So if you're curious to watch us do that, there was no medical procedures done in that video, thank God. Because they probably would have been, you know, like
Not
a little
done
bit
by
more
me.
than the camera crew could do. All right, we're gonna keep building. This video is getting off on a tangent.
Are you gonna start building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would I not? Normally we stop and like clean things up. Okay, I am gonna take this servo, which by the way, these are big servos. These are A332. Are those Metal Gear? Yep, Metal Gear. Nice. And ball. We've even got ball links on the rudder. I hate doing that, guys. I hate doing that. I try not to do it, but I have to do it sometimes to get the elevator in. Or I mean the horizontal stabilizer in. Oh, look at that. Watch this, guys. I'm gonna stick it in again. Watch this. Oh, wow. No crushing, no binding, no nothing. Okay, ready?
Hey, do you want your rod?
Just be careful. I
didn't give myself a splinter.
wounds. Don't diminish my suffering, camera crew. Okay, I have to pull it out. I'm sorry. So, watch this.
You
Now,
just stick it in again.
I did, usually repeatedly. Okay, so I'm gonna push this down here. Oh yeah, look at that. Guys, perfect fit. If we could just get that from now on until the end of time, that'd be great.
From everyone.
From everybody. Okay, watch this, watch this, watch this. Oh yeah. Ooh, come on now. See, there's several holes I have to line it up with and hit all the holes at the same time. That's a lot of pressure to do on camera. Okay, sticking it in. Oh yeah, there it is. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Did I speak too soon? Did I speak too soon? I've never done that before. Oh yes, so good, so good. Okay, if you were a really crazy person, okay, you could probably at this point conclude that you don't even need to put the screws in because it fits so good. It fits so stinking good. All right, come hither. See this? Look, right there. Look at this. I'm gonna throw caution to the wind. No, I'm not, because I don't wanna,
I was gonna say.
I don't wanna pick that thing off of there. That's gonna be a pain.
Yeah,
okay,
no.
Look how good those holes are lined up.
But that's pretty,
Look how
that's pretty
good.
amazing.
Look how good, huge. All right, should I remove the medical excess here into the garbage can? Yeah.
Didn't already do that?
No, we kept it to show the people. Oh. All right, so let's talk about what we're supposed to put in there for screws. There is instructions on how to assemble this. We just didn't really look at them. Yeah, they suggest putting in the landing gear first. You don't have to do that, it's already done. Yeah, so we're just skipping this step too. Okay, so C.
C.
Well, which one do we need? There's B, there's C, there's B. They're different sizes. Only in China. Only in China. China.
Hey, hold your B bag
Only in
still.
China. Would you be able to get away with doing the same label for two different items? But that's all right, because you know what they are at least. I don't even care what letter it says. I know what it is, for goodness sakes. Okay, so it's these ones. And it's obvious. We didn't have to wonder about it. We just had to go and point out the fact that they have two B sacks.
Yeah. But they're still...
So listen, guys. I don't have any experience speaking Chinese, except for pretend Chinese. So the reality is, the other day I found the coolest thing ever, because I had to make a Chinese label for a product in my day job. And I found the thing that you guys have all been using for 20 years. Hold on, I gotta get a screwdriver.
For 20 years.
For 20 years, you've all been using it for 20 years, but I've
existed.
just discovered it. And it's a Google adapter, plug-in on your cell phone if you have an Android device. And you can go to Translate, Google Translate, and then you can click the camera icon, and you can literally look at Chinese text, and it will, oh, why is that not? I feel like I need to push this in. See how the screws are kind of not square? Yeah, it's good enough for me. You can literally point your camera at Chinese text, and it replaces it with English. It is freaking amazing. And so I had to do that because I was trying to make a label for an internationally shipped. And by the way, for those of you that are in a box, like in your basement, and you really don't get out much, we send a lot of stuff to China too, because they need food and stuff. So they buy China buys food from us, and they send us everything else. It's true, we do. We send them a lot of meat, we send them a lot of soybeans, we send them a lot of corn, and that's part of the trade things, but there's still a deficit, and we need to figure out a better way to do it, obviously, but okay, cool. What?
Caleb will be so proud of you that you used that screwdriver.
Oh, this one here, this is from Menards. This is high quality. You get one of these free for being alive for so many years and having gone to the store. And look at this. Wow. 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 Oh, look, number 2. Wow. Okay.
Our 4-year-old took that out of the drawer, and he's like, Dad hasn't used this in 1,000 years. Why is it here?
1,000 years?
So
okay,
I'll let him
perfect.
know.
Perfect. I'm glad we got that out of the way. Okay, landing gear. Beautiful. Okay, we're gonna stick this right here. So anyway, long story short, the Chinese thing worked out great. I was able to make the Chinese nomenclature for the label, and I guaranteed that it didn't say your mother is fat. Which is always a problem if you print it 10,000 times and then ship it to the homeland, the mothership. People get like executed and stuff. You can't say that. Yeah. What? What letter? You need B? That thing looks huge. It's like 400 miles long. What? Holy cow, it's like actual size. Why doesn't that say actual size? They should.
They should. That would be helpful.
You guys are learning all sorts of new things at Horizon. All sorts of new things from Brian Phillips RC. Things you've never heard before or experienced. I'm sure it's probably funny because there's probably some product specialist at Horizon like, shut up, Brian. No, B. No, it's supposed to be D. Dang it, man. Somebody's getting fired in China. Somebody's getting fired. How many emails does it take to get them to change the B to a D? It's like B, D sound the same to me, sir. Uh-oh.
I don't think you're seated all the way. There's a
No,
little gap
I'm not lined
there.
up. Show the people. Like, try to go straight ahead. And look what I'm doing. I'm going to grab this. And I'm going to shift it over just a hair. Oh, boy. There you go. Now we got alignment. So, sorry, guys. Oh, so much better. Way deeper penetration. Speaking of penetration, look at that rod.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Well, it's kind of right there in your face. Usually that gets noticed. If not, it's very disappointing.
I'm focusing on what you're doing.
I'm tightening the screws, and by the way, notice it did not crush the foam.
No.
You know, oh, shit, I'm supposed to say that on a new release.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Oh,
sorry, Jason. Beautiful. Oh yeah, look at that. This thing is looking a lot better in person. Okay, little side note. You know how sometimes people have preferences?
They do.
Airplanes?
You have preferences?
Weird, I know. But with experience comes expanded appreciation. So this airplane may not have made it on my initial list, but it's on my list now. You wanna know why? Because it's going together really nice, it's super high quality, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful planes in the history of time. I can't believe I didn't have it before today. Oh yes. Whoa, that thing don't stay up. Okay, I think it might be time. I think it's time for you know what. I think might help to have a plane stand for this step, so we're gonna grab the plane stand. As you can see, I have stuck plane on said stand. Who sent that? Tom? Was that Tom who sent that?
Yes, still Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Which is
All
funny
these years
because
later.
Tom, yeah, it's been a while since we mentioned Tom.
Yes.
Tom, you're not off the hook yet. Oh, you want to know why it was falling? Because I didn't ram the rod all the way in
You keep
deeply.
forgetting to stick it in the hole.
I know, it's very strange. Don't worry, I didn't miss the opportunity. I just was viciously wounded by it earlier. Oh, wow. Eesh. Okay, I'm gonna take this out, maybe, because I'm just afraid I'm gonna damage something, like my hand. Maybe I should have been wearing safety gloves. Safety first now, Brian. I did notice the safety concern. Oh, that was plastic. The carbon fiber took a little chunk out of the plastic. Holy cow, that is a tight fit, guys. Look at that. Wow. Wow. Okay, legit point. If you're gonna be putting this in and out, it will wear a little bit as you do it, but like for me, I'll put it in once and it'll just like stay in there forever. But if you plan on taking yours in and out a million times, you may wanna take some Dawn dish detergent or other brand that's not Procter & Gamble and stick it in when you ram the rod into the hole. Stop saying those things.
I said nothing.
Oh no! This is a re-release. We're good.
Oh, okay.
We're good. Continue ramming and cramming. You would make me a fool, you plane. Get in there. Oh, there it is. It's in the hole. It's deep. We have full penetration, folks. Look at this. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. By the way, I just wanted to say, it looks good. It looks good on the back. I like the back side. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh, this is the vicious wounder right here.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Right there. That's the dangerous spot. Ooh, don't let it. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. If you guys have ever had a carbon fiber rod splinter on you like that, which namely where my carbon fiber rods splinter on me is like when I mount them to a pole with like a steel collar and I'll like screw it in. And as you tighten the screw, it like goes. And then I'm like, well, I guess I kind of ruined that one. So normally the strength in these carbon fiber rods is lateral and not so much like a crushing prevention. Like it'll crush still, so you have to be careful. Or like if you slide your hand along it, don't do that. Oh yeah. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I'm bracing the plane, and then as I brace, I'm wiggling the tip to get leverage so that I can slightly move these plugs. Okay. And then you can see it, like I am watching the connectors go in. Of course, camera crew missed it, so we'll redo it. Camera crew, why don't you come around here? We'll try it this way. I really want the people to see this, because this is one of those things where people are gonna be like, I can't get it to go in the hole. And I'll be like, well, just keep sticking it in the region and eventually it'll slide in, okay? So you see? Now I could do this more aggressively, especially after you've done it 2 or 3 times. It's gonna soften things up. But you see the alignment pins? You see how they're not perfect? Those 2 alignment pins that are white plastic are going to bring everything true, okay? You see how they align the connectors, okay? So then I'm grabbing the wingtips like this and just carefully pulling together, because then you're just forcing everything together and you have less. If you grab right here hard, you might break the wing. You might put a big dent in it from your hand claw grip. Your claw grip. Huge claw grip. All right, so we only have 2 bags left, an A and a B. A and B. All right, so we have A and we have B. A and B. A and B. So it looks like the longer 25s are Bs and they're in the front and the As are in the back. The A is in the back. The B is in the front. Okay. I can't come up with a good trick to rationalize that. It's just kind of the way it is. So B's in the front. And by the way, let's look at this too. Look at this. Actual-ish size.
Well, that's B, right?
I'm gonna say that better not be a flat screw. Yep. So actual size B's. So if you're getting this plane and you're trying to figure out which one is which, I must say a bit of a swing and a miss on having two different length screws on a plane that you want to be able to take apart. That's probably not the best. And the reason it's not the best is because when you're out at the flight field, imagine dropping that in the grass and just being like, oh gosh. So
it's not a very big plane though. I mean,
no, and these are good Phillips size screws. They're not like some weird one-off, like strange hex drive 1.725 millimeter crazy thing like we see once in a while on these planes. Boy, there's a lot of threads though. Holy cow, look at this. Good thing I got the Menards screwdriver. This thing is awesome. I don't even think they sell these. They only give these away.
Yes.
Brian, you don't ever get anything for free.
Nope.
Cheapskate.
Yep.
This is a birthday present. They say like a birthday present. If you go to Menards and you like do a rebate program or whatever once, I think you get in the you know, they start sending you birthday presents.
I think you have to have a Menards card for that, don't you?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we probably did at one point. I don't know. When we finished our basement in our first house, we spent a lot of money at Menards. So, and do you remember that poor guy in the carpet department?
Just thinking about.
He like got all yelled at because he gave us a special deal on the carpet after I rode him hard for like hours. I saved like 20 bucks on the carpet. Oh, that was good. Okay, good times, good times. My carpet's probably still living. Okay, so I'm gonna take my elbow. Watch what I'm doing. Elbow and arm. Pulling it, look what I just did. Look what I just did, you gotta show them. See this? Look, see how it collapses? There's the alignment. Oh yeah. And that was super easy, knowing what I needed to do. Okay. Okay, there's a few turns. And yes, I could use a drill. I could go out and get an impact and just strip the heck out of this thing and just destroy the plane. And that would be fun to watch, I'm sure, for some of you guys. But for me, it's kind of like, I'd rather not. Eesh. This one's gonna be a little more awkward because there's not as much leverage moment here. So I'm using my elbow on the cowl and I'm pushing toward the tail of the plane, spreading out my push. See, I'm not just using my pointer finger. I'm pushing like this. You guys just missed a cat fight.
Oh, that's why I was standing over there in the middle of them.
This one's not wanting to line up for me. There we go, got it started. Okay, so you'll note that I had to put a little bit of pressure on there. And I'm kind of trying to keep the pressure on it a little bit. And again, I want to talk about this for a minute. Some of you guys are thinking, geez, that looks like it's gonna be a pain in the butt to do out in the field. First of all, most of your flight fields are gonna have some sort of a stand. Second of all, if you don't, which I understand some of you don't, you could maybe pick one wing to take off. I mean, this isn't that big of a plane.
Right.
It is a 1.4 meter, but this thing would easily fit in a car. Look how tall the vertical stabilizer it is. When you have a 1.4 meter plane, you have short landing gear and you have a short tail, this thing doesn't take up that much room. You put the timber in that's only 1.5 meter and it is huge compared to this because that thing fits easy. The other thing is this would go between seats. Okay, so like in the back seat of a car, you should be able to slip this into the center if there's a center console and you can just slip it in and let it rock over. So this thing will go and it won't be too bad. And plus, I feel like the delicacy of some of this stuff is getting improved, okay? So here this is. All right, so that's good to go. All right, so the next step for us is we'll probably take 2 minutes cleanup and get the radio setup going next. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so We're gonna do the shelf liner trick for our Velcro because I'm not a big fan of Velcro on my batteries. I do have some Velcro on some batteries, but I just think it makes a mess of them. The shelf liner trick has been working good, so we're gonna keep doing it. So this shelf liner is just regular run-of-the-mill shelf liner. It's kind of got that squishy stickiness to it. If you have shelf liner that's dirty and you want to clean it, you can rinse it off with warm water and it'll just be good. And just let it dry and it's pretty much sticky again. But to be honest with you, it's so much better than Velcro if you ask me. But this is nice and easy way to do it. You just plop it down on there. You use the provided Velcro from the factory, and then I just cut it like this, and then just cut it. Sometimes it's nice to be a little bit oversized on this because you can actually get a lot more purchase with you know, more bang for your buck. And then if you come over to the plane, all you have to do is pop the canopy off. Oh, beautiful. It kind of slides up and out like perfect. That's really nice. And then they have high quality straps in here, which I didn't really talk about earlier, but they are very good. They're the nylon-y kind that are really strong. Okay, and look, you can't lose them and it's all plastic. The only thing that's bad about plastic is if they would break. It's harder to get that to be repaired than, like, you know, with balsa wood you can just, or with plywood you can just kind of, you know, throw caution to the wind. And okay. So note that that's gonna add a little teeny bit of height, which could be a factor. Okay, what is this? AS3X ESC? What does it say? Oh, that's the SPMX. Okay, so it tells you what type of ESC it is. This is like a programming channel, I believe. It says throttle. All of them are labeled clearly, which is nice. Probably a little bit unnecessary in this case. But the other thing I was thinking is, let's show them how a 2200 fits in here. I'm thinking that, and by the way, if you guys don't know how to buy this stuff, which I'm sure you do, but if you want to support our channel, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. One of the primary ways is to buy the stuff that we bring to you on the channel, like the airplanes, but we also have master links in the video description above. So if you're gonna go buy that stuff at Amazon or whatever, then just follow the link and you can buy it there. And if you're gonna buy these planes from Amazon, just a little side note, you can still support us by following our master link. But my recommendation is, if the shipping ends up being better at Horizon, which it generally would be, then buy it there because they take care of us better. So wink, wink, nod, nod. So also we would prefer to do sales through Horizon if we can, because as we build clout with these organizations, it gets watered down big time if it's going through second, third, fourth hands. So, I mean, it still helps if they know that, you know, if you use our links, we'll still get some form of commission. It's just a lot less in terms of percentages and things like that. So for those of you that are really looking out to try to help us out and be our advocates, the best thing you can do is just buy it from our links that we put at the top. And some of you guys are overseas. We understand it's like really expensive to ship, so we kind of get it. Okay, so this is like the perfect size strap. That never happens. Okay, so the 2200, this is a Gen 2. So if you had a Gen 1, it would be about the same size. This is a 30C, C30C. 2200 4S. Okay, so you can see it fits in there nicely. Now that's got the IC3 connector on it. And so I just brought out a 2200, this 2700 4S, a 3200 3S, and then a 3200 4S, just to give you an idea of the size difference. Okay. Well, before we do that, why don't we mark the CG? Because this is supposed to operate on 2200 4S. So usually what I do is I write on the side of the plane, 2200 4S, okay? And the C rating is irrelevant in this case. Also, thanks Danny for sending these. And I'm gonna pop out the battery because this thing's been dead for some time and I'm such a cheapskate. We're gonna need to order some more of these wonderful button batteries. Safety moment. Lipos are the most dangerous part of this whole application, and they are very limitedly dangerous compared to early lipos because there's so many safety checks that are in the batteries. So just be careful with your lipos, charge them properly, do what you're supposed to. And the reason I thought of that is because kids and these batteries don't mix, keep them safe. Don't let your kids eat them. There are things you can do to protect your kids if they would ever get one of these into their mouth. And you should appraise yourself of that situation if you have little kids, okay? Because it has happened and kids have died. So those little things. That has nothing to do with the plane, by the way, just a little PSA. because we like humans and stuff. We have a lot of them. I put that in backward. Are you kidding me? Or did the other one just like flip over? Huh, weird. Okay. I put it in backward evidently, folks. All right, so here we go. We're gonna zero this thing off. And what's the CG range? It says 85 millimeters plus or minus 3, also known as 82 to 88 millimeters, okay? So 82 to 88, that's a long ways back. Goodness gracious. So we'll just scroll into about 82. In my case, there's a little lock on the top of mine, so you can lock it down so it doesn't move easy. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna look, I'm gonna be testing this one probably upside down. It's just kind of tough to say on some planes, but it's from the leading edge of the wing. So it looks like if I'm careful about the way I do this, I can put my bump where the decal is, which is kind of a nice spot, because it'll maybe be a little bit less obnoxious. And then over here, I always mark both and kind of try to get them in the same spot so that it's symmetrical when I'm putting my finger onto the airplane to measure. And some of you guys are thinking, that's kind of ugly. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is, but you know what? I've never thought twice about it. No. Okay, so 5 plus 3 would be 8, so 88 millimeters. So that's the end of the range. I suspect this plane's gonna probably fly pretty irrespective of CG in terms of, you know, like if you're in the same battery range. Okay. So that's about a 10 millimeter range. You can tell it's a 10 millimeter because that's about 1 centimeter. And it's weird because back when we started this, I'm like, centimeter, what the heck, you know? I mean, like I've heard of centimeters. It's not like I didn't know that they existed. It's just I didn't know how big they were. And you figure out really quick when you start working with metric measurements that, you know, there are some advantages. But then when you're working with wood and you're making a lot of, you know, framing layouts and things like that, you find out that standard measurements are really nice because the imperial system gives you the exact half of everything previously, which is really nice. So it just kind of depends on if you're trying to half things or if you're trying to get a tenth of a thing. All right, so now that we have the CG marked, we'll go ahead and leave the battery in there. We'll simulate having it plugged in by plugging in just 1/2 of the circuit because we don't want it live yet. You see how I did that? So that'll kind of put the cable where it is. If the cable's ever a significant piece of weight, then you really get it close. Now I'm noticing the first problem. Look at this. Oh, nope, not even a problem. Went right in. All right, so far like 0 problems. Well, we did have to lever the wings to get the holes in. Okay, so let's flip this thing upside down and see how the CG works out. You guys may have noticed by looking in the background of the wind, it's kind of windy today. Okay, so on the back holes, I'm nose heavy. On the front holes, I'm tail heavy. So that's like literally, wow, that is like a really touchy balance point. Did you see that? On the back hole, it's like way nose heavy. On the front hole, it's tail heavy. On the back hole, it's like nose heavy. That is unusual. So maybe it's gonna be kind of picky about its CG. I don't know. All right. Maybe it's just the shape of the wing and where the finger's hitting. Okay, so let's show you how it looks with a different choice of battery. Let's just go up to the top size and see if the CG works. I'm gonna tip the tail up. It works nicely in that regard. And you'll see I don't have any Velcro on this. Now this battery's been used a lot and kind of, you know, had a rough life. And someday here in the near future, I'd like to share the footage of the rough life part. And I think you guys will thoroughly enjoy it. See, the shelf liner keeps this battery in with no straps to 90 degrees almost, like 87 degrees neutrally. Of course, it's static, you know, it's not moving around. So a dynamic load, it's not gonna do that. Okay, 3200 4S. Let's see if we can get the thing to CG out. Looks like that ESC might need to get pulled off of the Velcro and pushed forward a little bit. But let's see if we can get it to stick in there at least. Because I suspect this is gonna make the plane tail heavy. And that ferrite core had to be moved out of the way just a little bit to get that to squeeze in there. And remember, we have to keep this opening clear too. I don't like where that wire comes out because it's gonna get pinched by the, I mean, it's not gonna hurt it, but it's gonna make a, oh look, they rounded the edges. That was nice. It's gonna make a crush point on the foam. Not that it really matters. Okay, so we're in. Let's see if we reach, first of all, to the battery plug. Pretty darn close, actually. Pretty darn close. Okay, so I'm plugged in, and yeah, it would go. This is a Gen 1 too, not a Gen 2. This is also a Gen 1. Thank you. Yeah, it reaches, but I mean, I would not really be super comfortable flying it that way because that wire could come unplugged if you had a high G maneuver. Okay, so let's just see if this goes in, and I believe it will. Yep, it goes in. So the wire does pass. Now let's check CG. I'm guessing this is gonna be majorly tail heavy because that's 3200 compared to 2200 4S. Okay, so on the back hole, still nose heavy. On the front hole, still tail heavy. So yeah, you could do that. Now, I don't know if the flight times are gonna be an issue on 2200 4S. And I know some of you guys are really like to push the envelope on how long you fly because you want to be like Ryan Phillips RC. But the reality is the reason we fly them until they're like dead is just because like it makes for better videos. What the heck is going on the road?
What? Oh.
This is what happens when you live in the country.
You live in the country.
You get bobcats driving down the street.
Yeah. I mean, the guy that mows the cemetery, he drives down the road.
Yeah, but what's he doing with the bobcat?
I don't know. I can't see what he's got on it.
Well, it's just
a bucket.
It's a bucket. So anyway, well, you have to worry if people are going to go like dig in your yard and stuff. It's like, get out of my yard with that bobcat. Unless you want to clean up that area over there and then go ahead with the bobcat. That'd be great. If you could just do that, that'd be great. We're going to eat lunch now.
They were working on the trees over there the other
So you
day.
don't get that on other channels
No.
on YouTube. You just don't. You just don't get things like that.
Maybe there's a reason.
3200 3S. Let's see how this fits. Now, obviously, this plane will fly on 3S. I feel like you can kind of get that almost in the exact same position. Let's see if the strap feels good. This one has not seen much life. This 3200 3S, obviously, it's like brand new, perfectly square, tight, beautiful. Okay, oh yeah, fits in. Get good strapping, no problems there. Okay, so I'm just kind of pulling that through there. And you see as I tighten this, I like to put those on the edge if possible. Okay, oh yeah, easy plug reach. Let's see how the CG works. Now I'm not gonna do the 2700 just because it's so similar in size, but the 2700 compared to the 3200, obviously if it's between the two size classes, it should fit. We might fly it that way, but we're not gonna necessarily test every battery right now. That prop is sharp too, so. Okay, nose heavy, tail heavy. Amazing, that's so cool. So that means that when they engineered this plane, they must have thought about like the battery load being centered and stuff.
It's amazing.
It's nice when they think about it.
It's such a deep, would it be deep? Like the wing is wide. I don't know how you would explain that.
You're saying
what's the
it's
measurement?
got a long cord.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, it's called the cord.
I was gonna say that, but then I'm gonna sound stupid if I was wrong.
I don't think you would sound stupid. Just the fact that you're saying wing words for most guys is kind of like pretty exciting stuff. Wing words.
I know some of those words.
You get the RC guys all fired up when
sorry.
you say wing words. All right, so anyway, getting back to the point, you can see we have this opened up. I suppose we probably, to do the radio setup, we'll need a battery eventually. So why don't we just go ahead and use the 2200 4S? You know what? Let's show the people the windsock. This is the type of day where it's like, a skilled pilot could go out there and crash a plane just like the rest of us. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the grasses, the tall grass, it's cool. Oh, look at that fancy dance.
Yeah,
so you see that windsock just whipping around, it's going up, it's going down, it's going left, it's going right, it's going all directions.
The other problem is it's going like right across the runway.
Well, yeah, that's true too. So really, I guess my big issue would be if you're thinking about flying this in the wind, I'm sure it would do it, but I just don't want to crash the plane.
Yeah.
Because then that's a pain in the butt for everybody, including me. So the other thing I was thinking is when you do plug in a brand new battery, sometimes it won't bind if your battery's low. So we'll just put this one in. That was a lot of thinking about the battery.
That was a lot.
A lot of decisions made. Very small YouTube channel. So they've seen, like Hannah never makes the camera.
No, she doesn't.
Never. She's like in the background once in a while.
Yeah.
She was up earlier than the rest of the kids. It's been like a really, really long week.
Yeah.
Because I have a little bit of vacation coming up from my day job, so I'm really excited to be able to spend a little extra time on this. And so we're bringing you a little extra footage right now, which is super exciting. But if you guys want to help improve our odds of success in that regard, the best thing you can do is buy stuff from the links in the video description below. Obviously, if you do that, you'll help to support us financially, and financial support spreads a lot further than you might realize. And the thing is, the reach that you guys have and the impact you have on our real life, and whether or not we make more and more footage, is actually totally in your hands. So if you enjoy the footage and you like watching me clean up our kitchen, which I do routinely in our videos, then you are at the right place at Brian Phillips RC. And so we thank you very much for coming and staying with us. Now we're gonna set up the NX8. And so the NX8, of course, is the computerized or programmable, sometimes I call them programmable transmitters because you can program them to do certain things. And we always like to show the entire process here on Brian Phillips RC. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen a video before, or you're just not familiar with what we do here, this is just part of the routine operation. And by the way, if you've seen this video and you're like, you know what, I like what you did there, I'm trying to decide between this and the Cherokee, or between this and the RV7, or between this and the Timber 1.5. You can ask in the comments below. I'll try to give you my advice. But at the same time, remember, I answer a lot of these questions in the video. As much as I can, because I kind of have come to figure out there's a lot of planes that have similar characteristics. The type of guy who's gonna want this plane is gonna probably want the RV7 too, okay? So you can watch the RV7 Unbox build radio setup, and I believe on the RV7 we have second thoughts as well. So second thoughts come shortly after we're done with our first video, and we just kind of work our way through. So this is where we're gonna jump into radio setup. So the Unbox build and radio setup comes at the end of the video, which you guys are watching now. And then of course the Maiden flights come at the beginning, but they're all the same time frame generally for us. And then the second thoughts usually comes a couple weeks later, or if we do one like in the middle of winter, which we do reviews in the middle of winter, it's not as fun. And I have to like sometimes clear snow to do that, which is fun too. Sometimes we review that too, just saying. Then we will bring you some second thoughts when the weather is maybe a little bit more cooperative, because like most people don't go out and fly when it's minus 14 degrees, but we do.
Yeah, super fun.
Makes my day. All right, cool. So we got the canopy off. We've got everything ready to bind. It's gonna be a super easy process. Let's show them in the manual where we're gonna start. Okay, so from the beginning, this is one heavy duty manual, by the way. It's like really nice. I like a good manual. A good manual makes life easier, even though I usually will ignore them.
I was just gonna say, I'm not gonna read
This is the one area I like.
Yep.
So honestly, if the manual was like a one-page document and this is all that was in the document, I would be very, very happy. I'd be almost more happy because there's less stuff to sort through. But I can also tell you that this is where you can use if you're trying to do the safe activation and deactivation, but we're gonna be using forward programming, so we don't have to worry so much about this, okay? And then also, if you continue down in the manual, you'll eventually see the safe select. This is kind of like how you assign your deactivation switch, is what I like to call it, because safe on off is sort of a, you know, a non-starter. It's really what you're doing is you're turning safe off if you're bound in safe, okay? So just make sure that you need to have a channel assigned to safe to make it turn on and off. And so it looks like they're suggesting auxiliary 2. So of course that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th channel in this case. I don't know if that means you can use a lower channel, but I do understand that we're gonna be showcasing this in the forward programming setup, which is of course part of the NX8 in this case, and the NX lineup and the IX lineup. So if you're using a DX, of course, you also have access to forward programming. Just make sure that you update your firmware. Yes, my friend has a DX8. I don't. I haven't ever had a DX8 Gen 2, Gen 3, whatever they are. I've only had a DX18 Gen 1. And yes, you can update to forward programming on a DX18. And yes, I have updated mine, but we don't use it historically. We switched over to the NX6, then we went to the 8, and we've been very, very happy with the 8, and I've like really never gone back and used it for anything else. If I ran into a situation where I needed more channels, I could do it, but I just honestly haven't run into a situation except for one plane, which was a Horizon Hobby Hangar 9 P47. Yeah, it was a P47. So the P47, we needed one additional channel that we didn't have on the NX8 configuration. All right, so getting to the radio setup part, and just to kind of wrap up the manual, they do show you kind of how the control surfaces should work, how to make your mechanical linkage adjustments. We need to make sure to snap in our elevator at some point here shortly. And then they're talking about safe select and in-flight trimming. The trims, of course, are here. We don't talk about that like hardly ever because it's just so second nature. Anybody who's done radio controlled, even from years ago, it's kind of same thing. I can say one complaint I have about the NX8, and it's very small and it's very picky because I love this radio, is that I feel like it's harder to get to the trims on this than it was on the DX18. I don't know if it's just like a proximity thing or if it's like a size of the cabinet thing or if it's just the way my hands hit it, but I've noticed it's a little bit harder to get to the trim buttons. Not a deal breaker because you're not trimming that often. You should trim at the beginning and you do kind of get used to these things. We have done a lot of planes though, so. All right, so anyway, getting back to the point, we're gonna go to this page. That's usually where we start our radio setup. And we just kind of work through this list. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is turn on our transmitter. Okay, so it turns on, it says Spectrum, Boeing 737 MAX 9, what's that? So weird. Okay, so we're gonna click, we're gonna go to add new model, create. I do notice my numbering is a little bit screwed up on this NX8. That's a story for a different day. Sometimes we'll talk about it, but not now. Well guys, we got that phone call taken care of. Boeing 737 MAX, so strange. Click, scroll down to add new model, create. That's an acro, so you do need to create an acro. It also looks a lot like this plane, which is kind of cool.
It does, that's true.
Yeah. Takes a second to create a model, in case you're wondering. And that's where you would go back if you wanted to make a change to the selection, then model type. This is the same thing we just selected for the acro. If you change that, it'll clear everything you did. Model name, this is where you type it in. So it says 102 colon space. It just goes whatever the last number was plus 1. Okay. So this is going to be the Commander. Okay, I'm using the Legacy keyboard full disclosure. Yours will look different, and we also have a different color scheme here because it shows up a little bit better. It doesn't compromise our exposure on the camera quite as bad as other colors that we've tried. All right, so we're going to type in Commander mPd 1.4, and we'll be right back. All right, so we got the Commander mPd 1.4 meter. And I always put the size class in case there's a UMX that comes out. You never know. Aircraft type. Okay, so this is where you can refer to the manual if you're unsure. Okay, so this lists off all the different transmitters. We're on a NX8. Where's the NX8?
Down, almost to the bottom.
Oh, NX8. Okay, so aircraft type. One aileron, one flap, which we already kind of know that from just looking at the build of the plane. It's already a good picture, so you don't need to change it. If you don't want to change it, you don't have to change it anyway.
Did you change the aircraft type?
Thank you. And then flight mode setup. Now, normally I have to set up one flight mode, just turn safe on and off. So I'm going to go ahead and make an assignment. Let's think about this for a second. Landing gear don't exist, so we usually make an assignment to switch A. There are a potential for 3 positions within a flight mode. So if you prefer D, you would have 3 positions. If you want flaps, I'm putting flaps here. They suggest flaps on D. I never use D, okay? Because I have trouble getting to this because I use thumbs. Pincer grippers have no problems getting to D, I don't believe. Okay, so switch, I'm gonna set it to switch A. So, see how it changes down there? Right? And then this is where you can, see that? You can make assignments. See that? Pretty cool, huh? All right, so we'll go back. Spoken flight mode. So this is where you would change the name if you wanted to speak something. So flight mode. So double click the cancel, it clears it. And then I'm gonna type in, I'm gonna have AS3X on the back and safe on the front. So I'm gonna go to the letters and we're gonna type the word safe and come right back.
Okay.
Sorry, AS3X, and then we'll come back. So AS3X, and then speak. See this line goes way down. Now, if you don't want that, you can go to the select category, and you can reset and make a category that's like one that you call out all the time. I'm just gonna show you from a stock setup, because if you guys are doing this for the first time, you'll be able to follow. Also, this is a little bit tedious. You don't have to do this step at all. This is just so it says AS3X or safe when switching modes. You have to get way down here, and you'll see it'll pop by in a second. There's safe mode, and then AS3X mode, okay?
AS3X mode.
And I wish there was this place to make her talk faster. AS3X mode, AS3X mode, whatever. So flight mode too, so double click the cancel, and then we're gonna type in the word safe here. So safe, and then again, all the way to the bottom. And we'll just scroll all the way down to the bottom. Safe mode.
Safe mode. AS3X mode.
Okay, good. Then channel assign we may or may not have to mess with, so we'll just come back to that. Okay, so then timer. Do they say timer values on this?
It'd be, go back a page. Oh, it's usually up there.
It would say right there. Now, shouldn't matter because we have telemetry, full range telemetry, or not full range. They call it flyby with the 631. Full range would start with the 637. And basically the difference is the range is what they mean. And I sometimes mix up those terminologies to refer to what they do. Because with AS3X equipped receiver, smart receiver, and a smart ESC, then you get feedback of your smart battery, you get feedback of the ESC, you get feedback of motor speed, you get all sorts of cool telemetry. And it's all just like seamless. It all just passes through. It's very cool. All right, so coming back to the point, so we get a 5-minute timer, that's fine. Let's go first things first, throttle cut. I wish this was a default. Okay, so the stick all the way up and no output. Works, throttle cut's on. Okay, so we're good. So then we're gonna go to flap system, turn it to switch B. That's what I want, my 3-position switch to be. So A, okay, so 0 is gonna be 100, so we'll just scroll that all the way over. You're like, you set up a lot of this stuff before you even bind to the plane. That's correct, because it's just easier to set it up when you've got the plane off, I think. And then minus. Now, why plus and minus? Well, because the stroke is, you know, here, that's plus 100, there's zeros neutral, and then minus 100 is all the way down. Now, you can actually expand that for non-e-flite systems. You know, like in a Futaba environment, it's not uncommon to run 150% up and down, okay? The servos that we have in these planes just have longer strokes. So it's just something about the way they drive them. Okay, so they said 4 and 6. I believe that, that's probably gonna be right. And then the speed is 2 seconds. Now, why 2-second deployment speed? Just because it works so much better. It's so much less jumpy. Okay, so it looks like auxiliary 2 is still bound to switch B. So I'm actually just gonna jump down here and go system setup, disconnect RF, go to channel assign. I'm gonna just disassociate that. Then when I go to monitor mode, you'll see it's not changing every time I move the flaps. Elevator, ailerons, rudder. Okay, so everything's working there. So now the last thing we need to do is basically, let's do dual rates. Now they suggest dual rates in a different way, okay? I'm not doing that way. I'll show you how I'm gonna do it, and then you guys can do whatever you wanna do. Dual rates in Expo are highly subjective. Okay. Dual rates in Expo. So I'm gonna set it to switch F like always. The first setting is gonna be like 5. Then I'm gonna do 10, doubling, and then I'm gonna do 20. And I'm gonna drop my rates down to 90, okay? So that's the lowest amount of Expo. That's where I'm gonna start, and that's where I'm gonna end if I don't have enough Expo. This is where I'm gonna end if I have too much. And then I'll land, make that the new center. I'll make this half, and I'll make that double, right? That's how I do it. Makes it very clean, very seamless, and very easy to replicate. There are some few exceptions that I need to make adjustments. Generally, when I have planes that don't have stabilizers, we run a lot more Expo. Expo is not the same as stabilization. All it does is deadens the stick in the center of the throws, which means you can have a long throw range, meaning that the servos move a long ways, and yet you can still have precision. But make no mistake, when you have a longer throw, you will lose precision. It's just that the perception of precision can be hidden in Expo, which is kind of nice. Okay, cool. All right, so we got everything set up except for the timer. So the timer, we'll just do a 1 out for 5 minutes. No warnings, no warnings. Tone and vibrate. And expiration, we'll do expiration.
Is tone and vibrate.
Yeah, not this. We want voice. Then tone every minute thereafter. And we don't mess with those, so we'll back out. All right, so everything's done. Throttle cut's on. We're in our middle Expo setting. We've got our gear switch where we want it. Everything flaps are collapsed, put away in the regular flight mode. And now we're gonna go into the binding procedure, which is super easy as part of the radio setup here on Brian Phillips RC. If you wanna help support us, buy the planes from the links in the video description below. Also, you can visit www.brianphillipsrc.com and you'll be able to better organize what you wanna figure out. Everything is laid out for you there. We're gonna try to do some more work on it. It's a work in progress and the camera crew has been working hard on that. So thank you for visiting to help bolster her confidence in that regard. So I'm gonna lay this down here. You're gonna note that there's a prop on here. You need to be careful. I'm gonna take the transmitter so it's not in the way of the prop in case the prop would start. I'm gonna make sure that my camera crew is out of the way so she's not in harm's way. Remind me that our elevator is disconnected. Okay, I have a place where I can grab the plane. Worst case scenario, you let the battery die and then you reassess. Or you have somebody help you unplug the battery or you just like lay the transmitter down, okay? I'm gonna leave the transmitter on this time, which is something we don't normally do. But just for safe, see where my arm's gonna be? I'm gonna try to tuck in here and I'm just gonna pay special attention that I'm out of the blade's way. Just in case something goes really wrong. I've never had that happen. I have been cut by small plane once. Okay, I made a mistake. Okay. It's dark. Press the button once. Start the flashiness. Now, I've already got the model pulled up. I'm gonna click, scroll down to bind. Binding. Okay, 1 dance only. Bind complete. Okay, cool. Now, we're gonna turn the plane. Camera crew, if you wanna just kind of come around here. I always like the plane with the tail pointed toward me so I can check control surfaces first. First things first, I'm gonna hold the plane by the tail. I'm gonna shut off throttle cut. It does not start. That's good. You don't always know that, so check. There's throttle. There's throttle cut. Okay, everything's working there. I'm gonna clear the time. Elevator up. Elevator up. Why doesn't it work? Because it's not hooked up. Roll left, roll right, left yaw, yeah, right yaw. Take off flaps, landing flaps. All right. Throttle cut's on. Verified. Clear timer. Tip the plane on its tail or on its nose. This is now the center point, okay? So I want this to be centered. My flaps are collapsed, so there's no adjustment there. I'm not in safe, so it's not trying to level the aircraft. That's one thing you have to check on. I'm gonna brace this with 3 fingers so it doesn't spin, and I'm gonna twist, okay? Until that thing lines up there, and this is lined up there. Sorry, I gotta get my head down there. Okay, probably a couple more, like maybe 1 more full turn. There's 1/2, there's 1 more. So in like, what, like 4 turns?
Something like that.
That looks pretty good. I think I might need 1/2 less. So then back. And all I'm doing, guys, I just take this, kind of twist it, and then I hold it over the top. And then I study the contour of the shape of the wing and give them a shot down the side. And I'm gonna get a tool to snap this on, but just so you guys know, you can do it with needle nose pliers just fine. But I had one of our longtime subscribers, one of the grumpiest people on our channel. I'm just kidding. He sent these for us, Grumpy John, you big grump. I'm gonna just snap this on here. Oh yeah. So thank you for sending us these. And then we actually had one other person send them. So I apologize, I can't remember which one I used. So if I'm thinking the wrong person, I apologize, folks. Elevator, ailerons, rudder, everything's working, okay? So now all we have to do is go ahead and, now that we have everything secured, I want to set up, ooh, look at the rudder. Look at the rudder. Look at the rudder. Jeez. Snap back. So it's not straight. So 2 ways to resolve this. If you don't have one of these, okay, I'm going to show you there is a trick of the day, okay? Rudder. Okay. So here's the way you could do it if you don't have one of those ball joint pliers, because they are hard to get off. There's 2 ways you can do this. One is take a Phillips screwdriver, undo this one screw, don't lose it, small, lay it down, and then watch this. I'm gonna pop this control arm off and I'm gonna just try to center it. Okay, I'm gonna physically center it and I'm gonna see if I can get on nuts like the spline to line up. See? And I'm gonna have to overshoot by enough that it's not gonna be enough. It looks like I'm gonna have to overshoot too much, aren't I? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm doing, guys? I'm in the half of the spline. So that means that I'm gonna have to basically take and twist this. Okay, need needle nose pliers. Well, you know what? I'll hang on to it with this thing. I could use needle nose pliers, but this thing happens to have that, so I'll hold on to it here. Okay, so I'm going out, I guess. I don't know, just whatever direction it went. It doesn't matter which ways. We're not gonna unthread it. Okay, so I want to center that and see if I've hit a spline. I'm still not hitting a spline, so regrettably, I'm gonna probably have to go in. So there's probably three, okay? And just spin this around. Look at the rudder. Look at that, guys. Look how perfect that is. See what I'm talking about?
That's a lot better.
Now, I'm hoping that I don't have to immediately mechanically trim that back, because that may have been in an effort to help avoid some torque roll on takeoff. But then that means it's gonna basically need trim as soon as you're in the air. So I don't really know what the deal was. Maybe they just didn't get centered at the factory. But either way, that's how you do it. That's called a mechanical trim. If you hear me say the words mechanical trim, that's what I mean. After the first flight, you may find that your trims, let's say your trim on your ailerons is like this. Look at the ailerons. See how they're lined up? You may have to mechanically trim that out, okay? So you do the exact same thing. Very simple. I'm gonna go ahead and center that again. Okay. All right, so now we have AS3X only active. So I'm gonna show you how to test that. Throttle cut is off, and I'm gonna go ahead and give throttle. Okay, throttle cut's back on. I can hear it, okay? It's a bind and fly, so I trust that it's gonna be set up right. I'm clearing the timer. Let's go into forward programming and turn on safe. Okay, so the first thing you do, click into the function list, scroll down to forward programming. It's connecting, gyro settings, safe select. Okay, so it looks like
Safe mode, AS3.
that's just my audible thing.
Safe
Gear.
mode, AS3X mode. Safe mode,
See, now that's changing.
AS3X mode. Safe mode, AS3X mode. Safe mode,
On.
AS3X mode.
See how it changed the screens?
Safe mode, AS3X mode.
See how it's backward? Now watch this. So that's all you gotta do. And now when we reboot, it's gonna be 2 dances. Instead of 1. That's another way you can tell. Servo setup, travel. I'm just gonna reverse the gear, okay? So now look at this.
Safe mode, AS3X mode.
That's another telltale sign. You see how the elevator moves more in AS3X? And it's reduced and safe, okay? Same thing with the rudder.
AS3X mode, safe mode.
So I like that it calls out the value that you're in. Throttle cut is on and been tested. So now the last and best way to do it is this. Flip it upside down, and you can see the ailerons trying to correct. So we know we're in safe. Okay, so at this point, this plane is ready to fly with the exception of one massive detail that I want, even though we probably won't need. We're gonna set it up right now. It's called thrust reverse. You don't have to use thrust reverse. Thrust reverse can cause some additional level of risk, so please be careful and use caution if you decide to use thrust reverse. We're gonna show you how to do it right now if it works. Throttle cut's on. Throttle cut is important. You need to understand throttle cut. You have to do this quickly when you first plug in, okay? So you first plug it in, make sure you, 1 dance, 2 dances. Okay, if that's safe, click, whoops, scroll over. Okay. Lever down and left. Down and right, we're entering the menu. If you try to do that after being plugged in for 30 seconds, it will not work. Brake tight, disabled, normal, proportional, reverse. There's a brake force you're supposed to set. Did they talk about it? I don't know. I'm gonna leave it at 0. You guys can figure it out. I think they said 10 or 11 on a few of the planes. You can set your voltage cutoffs. I love that this menu exists. It is so nice. Thrust reverse is currently on channel 7. Channel 8 would be here by default. Channel 7, I don't know. We'll just leave it on 7, that's fine. We're not using 7 for anything. Okay, and then remember, you gotta see you can change that. And I'll just show you what it would look like if you went low. Looks like 5 is the lowest, 9 is the highest. That means that we have the latest and greatest firmware as of mid-May 2022, okay? If it's much later, they may have reduced that to other channels. And remember, using these controls, not this control, because this is all through pulse width modulation, okay? So there you go. It's called a serial connection, actually. So this is a serial through pulse width modulation there. Okay, so you can exit with save. Now it's gonna reboot the instrumentation. I'm gonna hold this with my hand, just in case something goes horribly wrong, shouldn't. Okay, now we're gonna go scroll all the way over to the menu. Go to the first monitor. We're gonna see what channel is attached to channel 2, or channel 7, auxiliary 2. Looks like that'd be channel 8, so it's not hooked up to anything. So I'm gonna make an association. Let's go to system setup, disconnect RF, go down to channel assign. If I'm going too fast for you, click the small gear, go to the speed, reduce the speed. I gotta keep the speed up for the people that are regulars that have done this 50 times. And if you're brand new and you're trying to set up thrust reverse, just stop. Learn to fly, don't hurt yourself. Thrust reverse can put you in some weird situations, just seriously. Okay, especially on prop driven planes like this. EDF's, totally different situation, okay? All right, so now we need to make an assignment. So auxiliary 2 is channel 7, you can see the 7 there. I'm gonna click this, I'm gonna set it to this switch. Switch G, okay? Then I'm gonna walk out, go back to monitor. Now, switch G is here. So you see it's minus 100, 0, and then plus 100. I don't know what direction that matters. Remember, you're not changing the amplitude of throttle, you're changing the direction that the motor will rotate. That's it. You're not changing the amplitude. The amplitude is still controlled by throttle, okay? So throttle cut is off. We have reverse thrust, we have neutral, and we have forward thrust. Throttle cut's back on. I can let go of the plane, reduce my throttle, throttle cuts off, test it, okay? So now that tells me that that position is forward thrust, minus 100, and reverse thrust is anything else, okay? So I'm gonna go to digital switch setup. I'm gonna click. I'm gonna select the switch I wanna set up, which is switch G. My throttle cut is on, okay? Now I'm gonna switch back to G. I just remembered I didn't have that on, now I have it on, okay? So I had to reselect switch G, just to be clear. So position 0 is where I want forward thrust. I want my normal flight mode here, because that's where I'm gonna have my switch by default. Then I want reverse thrust controllable, and if we did pilot fatigue, we'd do it here, but I don't do that on these planes, okay? So basically, whoops, there's switch G. So I want this one to be the opposite of what it is. So you could also just rotate the switch, but I want to be able to set up pilot fatigue easy later if I decide to, but pilot fatigue on a prop plane is not necessary in my opinion, generally, and it's a little bit dangerous on prop planes. You know people are gonna ask about it.
I like it on EDFs.
I just don't want somebody to have that switch going to that position and then cut their hand.
Yep.
But the throttle cut still works. Okay, so that's what I'm setting up. Now I'm gonna walk out. Now watch this, clear the timer. Throttle cut's on, nothing happens. We're in forward thrust. Throttle cut's off. Regular forward thrust. Powerful, that's 50% throttle by the way, okay? Then reverse. 50%, let's show them the plants over there. Okay, so obviously it's going reverse, and then this is also reverse. 3-position switch, and then forward. Okay, throttle cut's on, and tested. All right, so that's how you set it up. It's a pretty simple setup. If you wanted to add pilot fatigue, the way you would add pilot fatigue is you'd basically go in and set up a mix, and you would make the mix such that throttle is full, only in the condition where this switch is in that condition, okay? Then it's not controllable, it just goes full blast right now. But on this plane, I don't think you're gonna need it, and I don't suggest it on prop planes. So you figure it out, and that way you won't blame me when you get cut, okay? This is a beautiful plane, and I don't wanna sour the experience by having somebody have an injury on a cut. Okay, so let's stick this in here and just see how it looks. Oh my goodness, that looks beautiful, but we do have a little bit of a bump here. Let's figure out why. You see that? Mm-hmm. I think, oh yeah, we got the wire trapped. You see that? I'll have to figure out a way to keep that down. I think we're fine there now. Let's see if that goes. Oh yeah, so much better. Okay guys, so without further ado, we would like to be flying it, but it's just insanely windy out there, and we want this thing to show well because honestly, we think it's gonna be a sweet plane. I'm excited to bring it to you guys. We love doing this for you here on Brian Phillips RC. We hope that you found this video helpful. If you found it even a little bit helpful, definitely give us a like. That's the least you can do for us. We really appreciate that. And then don't forget to subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and then you'll know when we have new content. We try to do it 2 times a week is usually kind of like our minimum. But right now we're doing a lot more than 2 times a week because we have a lot of footage to share. And the other thing is, this plane, if you really want to help us, there's 3 big ways you can help us. Buy the planes, buy the batteries, buy the transmitters, buy the telescopic chainsaw, whatever it is that we're reviewing, that's one way you can help us. That builds clout with the manufacturers that we partner up with. If you hate this plane, don't buy it, buy something different. But if you want to help support us in our relationship with the vendors that we work with, just buy something else from these guys. If you want to give us a pat on the back, if you want to give them a pat on the back for working with us, that's one way you can do it. We're never asking you to buy stuff you don't like. We're just here to help you guys make a good decision between this, that, and the other thing. And we know that there's a million choices on the big World Wide Web, okay? So we're here to help you make your RC budget spread as far as possible because obviously times are gonna be getting pretty rough here soon when people are paying $6 a gallon for gas. So we understand you need to save as much money as you can so you can buy the plane you really need. And who needs food? I mean, I could go on a diet for a while and not eat. So save up your cash from the cheeseburgers and reallocate it to the MPX or the MPD Commander 1.4. Speaking to myself. So anyway, the other way you can help us is if you want to send one-time gifts, PayPal, and friends and family, so there's not a bunch of fees involved for you or us. And then also Patreon, if you want to do monthly support. So we have like, I think there's like 30 patrons or 28 patrons or something like that right now, which is super exciting. And we specifically do not offer any benefits. The reason we do that is because it forces us via them to collect that value-added tax for Europeans, and then also some taxes in other countries that you guys won't necessarily be thinking about, and then it just basically waters down your support. If you want to support us, we want your dollars to go as far as possible. If you want to support us, we're assuming you also want your dollars to go as far as possible, because otherwise it's just stupid. So, because the fee structure is very high on Patreon. So that being said, PayPal is very low fee structure. It's like almost nothing. So, but still, the best thing you can do, facilitate your wonderful hobby. This is what we want from you. We're not like trying to beg for money, but you do help when you send money. So we appreciate that. So at the end of the day, this plane is awesome. We appreciate you guys buying it from our links instead of somebody else's. And we also appreciate you guys coming back to watch our video footage that helps us to build clout on YouTube. And YouTube is a monster. It is huge. It's huge. And there's a million people doing cool things on YouTube. We're just one very, very small player in a huge, gigantic sea of people that are doing cool things. So if you like the long format, if you like the detail analysis, if you like the cat videos, then definitely help support our channel. There's a lot of different ways. We just gave you like 5. We appreciate you guys. The last thing you can do, come back for more. There's so much on the way. Stay tuned.